There's big blockbuster news coming to us today. Longtime Republican Senator from Pennsylvania, Mr. Arlen Specter, has announced that he is switching his allegiance from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. Now, why is that important? Well, it appears this will give the Democrats a filibuster-proof majority. What does that mean? Well, when there's a major piece of legislation that the party in the minority at this point, the Republican Party, wants to block, they actually can filibuster. And the only way you break a filibuster is to have a vote of 60 majority. Now, up until now, the Democrats only had a majority of 59. With this switch of Specter to the Democratic Party, now they're going to have what is called a super majority. Now, what does this mean? This means they can take the bit in their teeth and do whatever they want to, and there's almost nothing the Republican Party can do to stop them. The only thing that could stop the Democratic people, the Democratic Party right now, from enacting the most radical of their legislative program would be if the people would rise up so vociferously that they just hear the cries and realize if they go ahead, they will be voted out of office in 2010. That's the only hindrance now that would be on the Democratic Party. Now, what are we talking about? Some of the radical agenda. Number one, national health insurance. We're talking about socialized medicine. From all I have heard, the United States of America has the finest health care in the world. And furthermore, no one is turned away from having health care if it's an emergency, if you need it. However, in countries where they've actually enacted socialized medicine, the health care has degraded, doctors have left the practice, and it has created a situation that's much less than desirable. Now remember, everybody says America has the finest health care in the nation. We're tampering with that right now with this plan to have national health insurance. Furthermore, you are enacting a tremendously socialistic type of governmental program. That's number one. Number two, cap and trade. Barack Obama has announced his intention to enact very radical environmental legislation, and that means that every single business and maybe every single person will have what is called a carbon footprint. Now, one of the things that will happen under this cap and trade system, which Barack Obama has openly talked about, is that every business has a quota. If they exceed that quota, they must buy credits from some business or some country that does not exceed their quota. Now, these credits are not going to be cheap. You're talking about, this is a tax. Let's call it what it is. It's going to be a huge tax on the American people. And don't forget it, if a business pays it, you will pay it. If Walmart pays it, you will pay it at the cash register because they're going to make their money. The businesses are going to make their money. So this is a massive tax on the people. This will go through with flying colors if, in fact, they have the supermajority, which they apparently are going to after this breaking news today that Arlen Specter has announced he will be switching from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. Now, many of the Republicans are reacting like this. Well, Specter's been a rhino for a long time. What's a rhino? Republican in name only. There are certain Republicans, they're known as rhinos, and Specter has been that. The other thing that has triggered this right now is that he is facing from Mr. Toomey a very strong challenge in the primaries for the 2010 election. All the polls say Specter will lose that election. So Specter is moving to ensure his position in the Senate, even though he is 79 years of age right now. He is moving to ensure his position by moving to the Democratic Party, where he'll get all the liberal votes and maybe some of the Republican votes. And in his opinion, he stands a better chance of winning another term. I mean, he's already been there 30 years. He needs to be there 35 years, right? So that we can get the same thing that we've always gotten. Anyway, that's part of what's going on. But the cap and trade is huge because we may end up having to buy from Russia or from Cuba or from Venezuela or any country that has these credits that supposedly they are not issuing as many carbon emissions as they could. So they sell their credits to us. Now, how do you get them? You probably get a piece of paper, or you might get an email saying you now have 100 million new credits. They don't bottle the air to send it to you. You never know you really have it. It's all done on the books. It's sort of like money these days. All this money flying around. The Fed injects another, $3 million. Where did it ever go? Well, somebody just entered it on a computer and says you now have $3 trillion or $3 million or $3 billion, whatever the case may be. That's what's going on. It's all a virtual world until after a while we pinch ourselves to see if anything is really real or not. But we're talking about the most extreme of the platform of Democrats, including same-sex marriage. Would I be surprised to see the Congress usher through a law that same-sex marriage is acceptable nationwide? Not at all. Not with the leadership of Mr. Barack Obama, because he is for same-sex marriage. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, no, I heard him say he is against same-sex marriage. Yes, you heard him say that. But what politicians say and what they do after elected, have you noticed, is not the same thing? I guess you probably have noticed that. Well, the fact is, after he was elected, matter of fact, while he was being elected, he came out publicly and said, I am against Proposition 8. What did Proposition 8 in California provide for? No same-sex marriage. So if you're not for same-sex marriage, why are you against no same-sex marriage? Good question. Maybe I didn't tell you the full truth. Anyway, that's what's happening there, and we're watching the total revolution. This is not some kind of a reformation. This is a revolution. Do you know that Mikhail Gorbachev actually said, I brought perestroika to the Soviet Union, and that was a revolution. And now Barack Obama will bring perestroika to the United States of America. Do you know that just 3 or 4 days before the G20 summit in London back April 2nd and 3rd, do you know that Mikhail Gorbachev met with Barack Obama and the news never reported it? I picked it up on a Russian news site, but it was never reported because it looks like to me that Gorbachev is coaching Barack Obama. Do you remember those Gorbachev days? I mean, we're talking about, what was it, 90, well, actually it was 85 to 91. It was 6 years. And I mean, this world moved like a whirlwind. Things were happening so fast that the opposition to Gorbachev's policies couldn't even get in place until he was on to the next thing. It was a done deal. Well, that's what we're seeing right now in the administration of Barack Obama. And it apparently is because he, in fact, is attempting to do to the United States what Mr. Gorbachev did to the Soviet Union. If that happens, what will happen? Will it mean the disintegration of the United States? Well, we're hearing a lot of talk about it, aren't we, right now? Are we hearing a lot of talk about seceding from the Union? From none other than Governor Rick Perry of Texas. He's saying if they don't quit encroaching upon our rights and upon state sovereignty, we may have to end up leaving the Union. Could that be a portent of things to come? Could that be happening here, what happened in the Soviet Union? I don't know the answer to that. If they did break us down and now there's not very much power left, maybe that would make world government easier to enact because we wouldn't have the power to resist them any longer. Well, we're going to have to wait and see for that one. But interesting things happening right now. So until next time, that's the breaking news with Mr. Arlen Specter.